Welcome back to the Funding Academy. My name is Eddie Lascano, and today we're going to go over the personal funding criteria. So this is probably one of the most important topics that we're going to go through, all about personal funding. So why is this important? We want to make sure that we optimize personal credit score and credit profile. So when we go for the 0% funding, we have the biggest chance to get approved for the highest limits on the business credit side. This is critical, guys, that we make sure that we follow step by step and we make sure we take notes, and we're going to actually utilize these strategies to get the business funding that we need, the limits that we need, and successfully get approved. So guys, I'll also be showing you 0% personal credit cards that you guys can utilize if you guys ever need to actually use them. If you have high interest debt on the personal side, you can then move it onto a 0% personal credit card. That way you don't have to be accumulating credit card debt and interest at the same time. You can use that strategically and pay it down as soon as possible, because we don't want to have more than 30% utilization on our personal credit scores. And of course, we want to use our personal funding criteria, and we want to use the personal funding criteria so we can get access to free hotels, free flights, pretty much the travel hacks. All happens inside the personal funding. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. So personal funding is when you go to several different banks and lenders after you meet the data points to get approved for capital for your personal self if you have low accounts or low limits, or you just want to have some extra capital just in case anything happens. The average person doesn't have $25K to $250K laying around to invest in certain businesses, or if anything bad were to happen personally to them. So getting personally funded allows you to get higher limits on your business accounts. After fixing my credit and funding myself, it allowed me to invest into my first rental property, and it allowed me to scale my barbershop, purchasing equipment, running ads for marketing, and all of this with other people's money, so OPM. But it all started with personal credit. So personal funding can be a major stepping stone in your journey if you don't have the liquid cash. What should a fundable credit report look like? So this is what a fundable credit should look like. We have factors that can improve and hurt your credit scores. So let's start from the hard inquiries. On each bureau, we have TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. We don't want more than 3 to 5 inquiries on each bureau. Having more than 3 to 5 inquiries on each bureau will tell the lenders that if you have more than 3 to 5, you look like you're desperate. You look like you've been applying everywhere, you've been getting denied, and you keep trying to apply, even though that they're already saying no to you, but you keep on going, and you're just adding up these hard inquiries. Every time you get a hard inquiry on your credit report, it adds about 5 to 10 points negatively against you. So just to keep that in mind, we can remove the hard inquiries as long as they're not attached to an open account. If you dispute a hard inquiry that's actually attached to an open account, this could trigger a warning and actually shut down that account, even though it's positive. And we don't want to shut down any open accounts that are positive. So again, guys, if we do go for disputes, only dispute the hard inquiries that are not attached onto an open account. So the next thing is the total amount of accounts in your name. So you want to have at least 10 to 12 positive accounts, mostly primary, solely in your name. So what does that mean, guys? You want to have auto loans in your name. You want to have a mortgage in your name. You want to have at least 3 to 5 credit cards, if not more. I always recommend at least a mix of 10 to 12 positive accounts that are in your name. This can include a couple of trade lines as well, but you don't want to lean just on trade lines. So trade lines are authorized users, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But you don't want to just rely on those authorized users. You want to have accounts that are solely in your name. And of course, we want to have a credit age. We want to have a strong credit age. So what I always recommend, if you ever open up a credit card, never let that credit card go close. You guys always want to have active accounts. You want to have transactions going on each one of your credit cards, whether that be some gas, and you just want to have it on auto pay so you never forget to have it paid. every 30 days because we don't want to have any late payments, and we don't want to have those accounts shut down. Because let's just say you open an account 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and it's a credit card for a low limit. The thing that most people do is they say, I'll forget about that card. That card doesn't matter. It's a low limit credit card. I'll just let it go. I'll stop using it. The issue is it has so much age on there since it's your oldest credit account that this will negatively affect you if it gets closed down by the bureaus, if it gets closed down by the banks, because the banks make money if they lend money. So if they're not lending money, they're going to cancel the relationship. So let's talk a little bit about derogatory marks. So these are collections, tax liens, bankruptcies, or any civil judgments on your report like taxes. These can be added onto your credit report, and we have to have this at 0 every single time that we go for funding. So we want to make sure we don't have any derogatory marks on our credit profile. All right, let's talk about credit card utilization. So really the key to having great utilization is having high limit credit cards. I know it sounds crazy, but you want to have a high limit credit card so you can maximize that credit. If you have a $500 credit card, of course you're going to overutilize it. It's going to be very simple to spend over 30% of that and keep a balance. This is why you always want to make sure if you do have these low limit credit cards, you want to call your banks every 3 to 6 months and tell them, hey, I want to increase my limit. I want to increase my limit every 3 to 6 months like clockwork, because we want to get those low limits into higher limits no matter what. You want to keep the utilization under 30%. And ideally, when we go for funding, you want to keep it at 10%. And of course, we want to have 100% payment history. We never want to let any account go negative. That is probably one of the worst things that you can do. Removing late payments on open accounts are very hard, guys. They can be done. It can be removed, but it's going to take more times, more letters that are needed to be sent out to the bureaus in order to fix that. It's like I said, it can be fixed. It's just going to take a lot longer versus a closed account with late payments. So again, guys, we want to keep at 100%. Again, guys, we want to have 100% payment history at all times. So go ahead and take a screenshot of this, write it down, compare it to your personal credit. If you guys have any questions, we're going to get on calls twice a week, so we can always go through it on the Q&As. But I want to make sure that we understand what a fundable credit report should look like. And if you guys have anything that's negatively reporting on your credit, just go ahead and give me a DM and we're going to go through it. We're going to go through your credit reports. But again, this is what a fundable credit report should look like. So guys, what's the benefit of personal funding? So you can take advantage of the 0% interest rates that credit cards have. And usually they have great introductory rates. Just like the 0% business credit cards, they have 15 to 18 months at 0%. Again, a security for peace of mind. You want to make sure you have these high limit credit cards. The last thing you want to do is say your car breaks down and you have a $3,000 service fee. You want to make sure you don't have to overextend yourself on the credit. You want to have high limit credit cards so you can have peace of mind and say, okay, if I at least have $2,000 paid down for it, my utilization is not going to get hurt because at least I have a $20,000 to $30,000 credit card that I can use. Another really great benefit that I love is having access to free flights just by using your credit card. I actually don't use my debit card at all. You guys should not either, just because if any fraudulent activities were to happen to your debit card, it's a lot harder to get your money back from a debit card from your checking account than it is getting your money back from a credit card. So I always say use a credit card. My favorite is the Chase Sapphire. That's probably my daily, everyday use on my personal credit card. And also my Navy Federal Amex credit card. And I actually accumulated about $800 worth of credit card points just by using it this year. And then again, you also do have access to free hotel stays as well. With the travel hacks, I'll actually have a bonus videos in the bottom of the trainings once we get finished up with all this 0% funding. Again, we have free money back in your pocket with cashback rewards and balance transfers on high utilization credit cards with 0% intros. Maybe not everyone has a built out credit report. That's fine. We're going to go through how to properly build out a credit report for specifically funding. To properly build out a credit report for funding, you will need to have revolving accounts, plus installment accounts, a mix of credit cards or trade lines due to age of credit reports. If you don't have all three, the chances of getting denied are much higher and you might get access to low credit limits. And that's what we don't want. That's pretty much the introduction on the personal credit. And in the next trainings, we're going to go deeper on which accounts that we need to set up in order to get access to the most amount of funding at 0%. Alrighty, guys. See you guys there.